This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the nostalgia glasses. You wake up in your bed and go on believing that these games are every bit as good as you remember. You take the reality glasses. You stay in Mushroom Kingdom. And I show you just how deep the warp pipe goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Welcome to Cartridge Royale, the show where we revisit games from our childhood to see if they still hold up.
We're going to be pitting 3 games against each other in a battle royale setting to see which one comes out on top.
Today is all about first-person shooters, and we're going all the way back to the beginning with the N64 classic Goldeneye.
Great. I'm so excited to be playing Goldeneye in our Year of Our Lord 2024.
Well, some fun facts about Goldeneye. As you know, Goldeneye was a big deal for the N64, selling upwards of 3 million copies.
Wow. That's crazy for the time, I feel like.
Yeah, so this was 1997, just about 8 months after the N64 release. So it wasn't a release title, but it was a huge driver for the console.
Yeah, because a fun fact for you, first-person shooters hadn't really come to console at this point, so this game was really, really groundbreaking for the time.
Yeah, it was like you had games like Doom, which were a lot more about run and gun type of shooting, and GoldenEye really leaned into the spy aspect of the things because it's James Bond, so you had things like mission objectives and stealth gameplay, things that just did not exist in first-person shooters of the time.
Rescue hostages, that's gonna be awesome. Don't shoot my hostage! Are you shitting me? That's just terrible AI. That is horseshit. I was like, how am I supposed to do this?
You say terrible AI. I say pretty accurate to how panicky and stupid people can be.
Our second game of the day is going to be Perfect Dark.
Sound like a first-person shooter game, doesn't it? Sounds like a straight-up horror game.
This was Rare's follow-up because they didn't get to make the other James Bond game that went to EA.
Really interesting that they would have changed developers.
You know, it's so funny because Rare did an amazing job. They sold a lot of cartridges, but opting to not give them the sequel is a really interesting choice.
Yeah. But thankfully, they came up with a really interesting and cool IP.
Yeah, Perfect Dark was a completely original IP that they came up with. They cast a female lead character, which was really unusual for the time. That just didn't really happen often in gaming. You had, you know, Metroid, where the Easter egg at the end was, you were a girl the whole time. It's like The Sixth Sense, but...
You mean we were playing as a woman the whole time?
And that's just the thing. Whenever feminism works its way into video games, it seems to intentionally be at the expense of a mostly male player base.
So Perfect Dark pushed everything that GoldenEye did, but a little bit further. The gameplay was a little bit more complex. The AI was a lot more interesting.
The animations, too, were a lot more interesting as well. If you'll notice in GoldenEye, when you reload your gun, it just takes the gun out of frame, you hear the reload noise, and then the gun comes back up. In Perfect Dark, you actually got a dedicated reload animation. So that was pretty revolutionary for the time as well.
Yeah, yeah, and they went so hard with the character animations in this too. So they did a little bit of mocap, and if you look at the mocap suits that they were wearing, they just had wires everywhere. I don't know how they did any of it because they looked super clunky and awful.
Yeah.
But they did different mocaps for the enemies, so depending on where you hit them, they would respond in in kind to like where the shots hit them, which was not something that you saw very often.
Well, and I think Rare was one of those companies that always pushed the boundaries and the software and the hardware in the N64. So pioneers of their time, truly.
Yeah, Rare was an interesting studio. Going back to Goldeneye, actually, how big of a team do you think worked on Goldeneye?
I'm going to say 8.
You're close. 10.
Hey!
It was a 10-person team that worked on Goldeneye, which is nuts to me. The team was much bigger for Perfect Dark, but still nowhere near the dev teams that you have today for a lot of AAA games.
Unless you're Skull and Bones, then you're a quadruple A game.
Whoa!
And we all know that game sucked.
I didn't play it.
Neither did I, but I like to read about people who say things suck.
You can't say that it
And then I
sucks
judge
if you don't
them
know.
and say that they suck.
Gotta do something with control panel somewhere. Oh. Light switch.
Oh, that was a light switch.
What?
But now I can't see a dang thing.
Gotta go back over to that wall.
I literally cannot. Did I just cuck this? I think I've got to go back and try it again.
Oh my god.
I misspoke on Goldeneye. Goldeneye sold over 8 million copies. Perfect Dark sold over 3 million copies.
Okay.
So Goldeneye was a massive success.
Yeah, it was a huge hit.
And Perfect Dark was also a hit, but less than half the sales. Both of these games have Metacritic scores of high 90s. I think
crazy.
GoldenEye's 96 and Perfect Dark is 97. Like, and these are modern scores. You can go there and like they're still getting like new user reviews for stuff. Like these are still highly rated games. But do they deserve it?
I'm gonna go on a limb and say, they don't. They don't. Seems like they're wearing a pair of glasses that would kind of cloud their.
You mean like this?
Yeah.
Ah! God damn it! What are you doing? Oh my god!
Okay, what is the third game we've got here for us?
Our third game is a dark horse, literally.
Black Cartridge, how fun. You stop.
Holy jeebus! Oh, Chris! Chris! All right, welcome to Turok.
Christ! Our third game is Turok 3. This is a game that probably not many of you have played. In fact, neither of us have played it.
Yep.
We both played Perfect Dark and GoldenEye growing up, but I have never played a Turok game, and so this will be interesting to play this for the first time and see how this holds up. Now, the reason why we chose this game is that you may have noticed that we've gone in chronological release order. GoldenEye was 97, Perfect Dark was 99. Oh shoot, no, I misspoke. Perfect Dark was May of 2000, and Turok 3 Shadows of Oblivion was released in August of 2000. And so this was kind of one of the later games to come out on that console. Leveraged the expansion pack to its maximum to squeeze as much computing power out of the console. But did they end on a high note or did they not? We'll find out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The first-person shooter genre has evolved so much over the years and has matured and become just a whole other beast from these games and how they were. So we're basically looking at fossils when it comes down to it in the gaming space.
An apt word, because this is a game kind of about dinosaurs.
Hey!
Well, that one didn't have near the opening sequence that the other two games had.
Oh, it just
No nonsense, man.
made the
Oh, this must be the origin story. Oh, it was all a dream.
dreams are a cop out.
I don't like where this is going.
If this is another dream, I'm gonna fucking scream, dude.
I'm already so confused by this
I
game.
know.
Maybe if we'd played the first two games, we'd get it. But I just don't.
Even I don't understand any of this. What?
Same.
For real.
If I recall correctly, this game was based on a comic book. It was adapted from a comic book into this game series. The studio that developed this was Acclaim, which is a studio you might recognize from our favorite SNES game, NBA Jam! Acclaim did a bunch of random titles. They were kind of all over the place. They did a few sports games. They did a couple of movie adaptation games. I think they were the ones that developed the Batman games on the SNES.
We played one of those, and maybe we'll revisit it
Yeah.
for one of these episodes later on.
Metacritic score, I believe, of 77 on there, and this game particularly did not sell very well.
Which is interesting because our friends that we also play a lot of video games with have really fond memories of this game.
Yeah, but is that the nostalgia glasses, or was it a legitimately overlooked game?
I guess we're gonna find out.
Wow!
And jump. Oh. Am I gonna get squished at the top here? Of course This is so stupid and bad.
Well, what a day this has been.
We started off really good, I think, though.
Yeah, we started off stronger than I anticipated we would. Yeah, let's just jump in.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Goldeneye.
Jeez Louise.
One at a time, assholes.
I guess like the whole reason why we even started doing this is because we did a retro game day where we played multiplayer 64 games with our friends. We did like probably a 14+ hour day.
Yeah,
of just
and it was like
straight
12
gaming.
different games.
Yeah, we bounced around a lot, and one of the games we played was Goldeneye. And the multiplayer we thought was
Dog crap.
awful. We probably only put about 10-15 minutes in, and then we were like,
just like,
nope, let's
we're
go
done.
out. But we also played Perfect Dark on that day, and it was the
same
exact
problem.
same thing. I think we both had a better experience today playing the single player. Would you agree?
Yes, 100%. It was way better than the multiplayer.
Keep running! True! Jeebus! Let me out! Oh my god! Hey, there's Natalia!
She's so helpful.
Get me out!
I think Goldeneye is ancient, and it's aged like curdled milk in terms of controls.
See, and this was the part that I was really surprised about, is that the controls were basically my only issue with it.
Yeah.
There's a Donkey video floating around there where he talks about Goldeneye, and everybody likes to put these on and go, oh, Goldeneye? Goldeneye is one of the greatest games ever made. It's amazing. 10 out of 10. Love that game. I put 3,000 hours into Goldeneye. It's amazing.
Jeez.
When the reality is like it suffers from some really poor controls, partially because the N64 controller is an abomination.
It really is, and people like to give it a pass because it was very innovative for the time. But my goodness, single joystick controller, that should never have happened.
Holy shit.
There you go. You were doing... Hello? This is the hardest part of the entire mission here. You missed. There you go. You hit it that time. You missed. There you go.
Shit.
And honestly, like playing it through again now, like the multiplayer is obviously not competitive. It's bullshit.
No. It's very much just a party game. Screw around with your friends. type of
Exactly, and because you only have like, they have to basically combine the two most useful parts of a twin stick first person shooter into one stick, and because of that you don't have much
Up and
vertical control, and that's why nobody likes you when you play Odd Job, is because his head is below your cursor or your reticle, and so you can't hit him.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's beyond frustrating and we're going to talk about this later with the third game.
We'll get to it.
And but in Goldeneye, like just the single player portion of it, as far as like enemies and stuff, nothing was below your reticle for the most part, and the auto aim functioned actually kind of good.
That's what I was about to
Actually
get
kinda
to.
good.
They designed the game around that limitation in a way that makes it kind of work. You do kind of feel like you're driving a car, or
or as you were saying, forklift.
I think I figured out why this feels so weird. This kind of feels like you're not controlling a person. It feels like you're controlling a car.
Yeah.
It's like you have to, like, parallel park in these hallways. I swear to God, you handle like a fucking forklift, though.
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. It's a forklift, just.
Yeah, I don't know why, like, because you're not fast, and you can turn really, really tight, but the controls feel like sometimes, like, if you want to go around a corner in a modern first-person shooter, you push
can round
ahead,
that control.
You
You
push
can round that
You just
corner.
push forward on the one stick and then left on the other, and you'll just, you know,
round.
On this game, it's all on one stick, so you kind of have to, like, turn around.
Yeah, it's like a 3-point turn to go around a corner. It's,
Yeah, it just feels
very-
so bizarre.
it's jagged. That's what it is. It's jagged,
But that,
not curved.
all that said, though, the single player mode in Goldeneye kind of just makes it work. Like when you go up and down ramps, even like the auto aim is very, very generous.
Yeah. And another thing we were talking about with the auto aim, that's a cheat in any other modern shooter. You go to a modern shooter, you got auto aim on, you're getting banned. Unless you're playing Call of Duty and they don't give a shit.
Or Apex.
They just don't care about cheaters. But anyway.
The aiming is so hard in this game.
Well, the auto aim is like putting in work, though.
That was a mechanic in the game. You relied on auto aim because of the single joystick, and GoldenEye, I think, is great at it.
Yeah. Like, I think GoldenEye kind of deserves its praise. Like,
Yeah.
And I was fully prepared to come into this and just shit all over
Yeah,
GoldenEye.
me too.
We kind of wanted to come in
Yeah,
here
we
and
kind
shit
of
all over GoldenEye.
couldn't wait to poop all over this
But
game.
like, even from the very first moment we turned it on, the music comes on.
yeah.
The soundtrack is consistently so good. Like, I would unironically just go and listen to the GoldenEye soundtrack.
Yeah,
at this
you could
point.
just put that on and as you're driving somewhere, whatever.
It's fantastic.
It's good.
It's groovy. Like, I wouldn't say that it always fits what you're doing.
This is some baby making music.
And then this. Wait, xylophone. This song's a banger.
Woo! But it always feels good.
yeah.
Because you'll like enter into this like spy mission where you got to be stealthy, and the music's just going. And I know we played on the easiest difficulty just so we could see the the most amount of the game.
because we were just looking at it from just a objective baseline level. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to see as much of the game as possible because I haven't played GoldenEye since. I don't.
Retro
even
Game
know.
Day.
Well, yeah, we played the multiplayer. I'm trying to think of the last time I played the single player.
Probably when you were in like junior high or high school.
I want to say like 2001.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
I haven't played GoldenEye since 9/11.
Yikes.
Oh, I guess the other thing we should talk about are the missions in GoldenEye.
Pretty
Because
simplistic.
Pretty simplistic because we're playing on the easier difficulty. Because as you bump the difficulty up,
have
and
more
I think this is
objectives,
a really clever way to insert difficulty into a game. I think you do get more enemies and less ammo, which pushes you to
And
be.
enemies, I think, do more damage too.
Do they?
I wouldn't
go-
doubt it, but
I'd have to go look at it, but I like the idea better of the difficulty of the game coming through more objectives, and I think that gives it a lot of replay value too, because what we found is that most of the missions are actually pretty short, which I think is a good game design. Like, you're kind of thrown into these somewhat labyrinthian levels, and not all of the rooms do anything, especially when you're playing on easy, because you know, some of the objectives use the rooms, and you don't have all of those on agent mode.
I don't think you're in the right spot. Yeah, so something that's actually really interesting about this game is that they included a lot of areas that don't actually go anywhere.
So you
go back. I think you were supposed to be.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to be up top, I believe.
But yeah, it kind of makes you learn the level a lot more, so that you can figure out where things are, where cameras are, where enemies patrol. And so when you go back and do them on the higher difficulties, you'll be like, okay, I know that thing is in this room.
One thing about Goldeneye as it pertains to that, though, a lot of the rooms look very samey, and it's really easy to get lost in some of those levels.
Definitely.
And you end up backtracking a lot. So this is one hard criticism I have, is just the rooms and things in certain missions look very samey, and it's really easy to just go into the same room like 4 times and just not even know.
Yeah. You like turn a corner and you think, have I been
here
in this hallway before, or is this just a copy-pasted hallway?
Yeah.
It would be really nice if they'd had the ability to make the environments a little more unique. And it wouldn't have had to been like, you know, every wall needs to be like customer. It's just like, just make something, like put a
landmark,
a doodad on the wall, just
some kind of landmark
something that would like help me navigate and not be losing my mind as I'm trying to figure out if I've been somewhere before. And not just relying on, you know, finding bodies.
I think that kind of carries over to the next game that we played as well. That was kind of a problem, but we'll get to the other game. But Rare was in their bag, though, when they made Goldeneye.
This was absolutely the beginning of the Rare renaissance, if you want to call it that. What year was Banjo-Kazooie?
Banjo-Kazooie, I want to say, was sometime late 90s. Maybe I think it came after Ocarina of Time, and Ocarina of Time was 98.
Right.
And then,
so this was 97, I think is what we said, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Because I think this was Rare's, you said Rare's first big one.
I think that's the one that put them on the map. Let me double check on that, just so we're not spreading misinformation here. I don't want people coming at us in the comments. Everybody calm down. I can already see you yelling with exclamation points. 98. Hey, I was close. 1998. Banjo-Kazooie's 98.
So Goldeneye and then Banjo-Kazooie came later. Yeah. This was really truly the start of the Rare Renaissance, and they proved that they were a good creative studio, that they were able to leverage a console's limitations in creative ways and work around things. And yeah, like beyond like the wonky controls and the limited visual information in the environments, pretty good game.
Yeah, we actually had a lot more fun with it than we thought we were going to. So we may be guilty of this a little bit right now.
Well, not anymore, because we actually sat down, we played it,
and had legitimately good time.
Yeah.
So, just kidding.
Well, and moving on to Perfect Dark. So this is basically the sequel to Goldeneye, because it's the same studio a couple years later, and the similarities are impossible to ignore.
Oh, I know, yeah.
That alarm sound is exactly the same.
Rare came up with a really cool original IP.
Yeah. I don't think they get quite enough credit for it. The Blade Runner influence is heavy. You haven't seen Blade Runner, but either of them?
Neither of them, yeah.
Oh, the new one's quite good. The old one's very slow and boring, and I don't care who criticizes me for saying that, because it's true.
But anyway.
But yeah, the Blade Runner influence is actually very strong in this. They depict the futuristic world of, I think, 2023 is what they are in the game.
And they're flying cars in it. Where's my freaking flying car?
The people are usually a lot more optimistic about the future than we are in the present.
Yeah.
But like, they came up with something that was pretty compelling, that was, you know, just like that near future sort of aesthetic that's very like cyberpunk in a way, like maybe like retro cyberpunk a little bit. And I think it really works in the game. Like, a lot of the weapons are just futuristic enough to make them interesting.
Yeah, like the weapon sounds too.
Yeah.
The sound design in both of these games, I think, are really well done.
Yeah, like in almost every way, Perfect Dark is just a nice iteration on GoldenEye.
It's like having an expansion on GoldenEye. That's basically what it is. It's like going from StarCraft to StarCraft Brood War. You're still playing a very similar game, but there's these really cool quality of life improvements and upgrades in little small ways. So,
And one of the big ones is in the presentation of the game. So there is no voice acting in GoldenEye.
No.
And all the characters are fully voiced in Perfect Dark.
Dr. Carroll? Dr. Carroll, are you here?
Well, is it safe to come out?
Yes, all clear.
The cutscene animations are way more ambitious. I won't say the voice acting is very good.
it's not great, but it's not bad either.
It's not terrible. It didn't make me cringe, but it was just like, they probably just got whoever was around that day to do this.
It was probably all in-house stuff. They probably didn't get like super professional actors or anything like that. But back in the 90s, when everybody was kind of experimenting with all this stuff, you kind of just made do with what you had.
Totally.
And they knocked it out of the park, I think.
Did he just call me a bitch?
I actually think that the soundtrack is not quite as good as GoldenEye.
No, definitely not. But I think that's a symptom of the James Bond music being so iconic, and it's been around for a long time. It's very recognizable, and Grant Kirkhope I'm pretty sure he did the music for both of these, but arranging a James Bond soundtrack was probably a lot easier than coming up with something crazy original for a futuristic game. Because I feel like you fall into a lot of tropes when somebody comes to you and says, hey, I need a soundtrack that sounds like the future, has this kind of techno-y sound, and I don't know, I feel like you can fall into generic tropes when you're given that kind of a prompt, but when you're given James Bond as a baseline, it's so much easier to come up with stuff, and so I think that's the reason why GoldenEye, the music and at least, is top notch over Perfect Dark.
Even the stuff that wasn't stuff that I recognized from the Bond franchise was so good, though.
Oh, I know. The remixes were awesome.
Yeah. GoldenEye might be a good game, guys.
Might be. It might be.
I do think, though, the one thing is the controls are basically identical.
Yeah.
And I do think that if you're wanting to replay these games, I don't know that I would recommend playing them on the original format.
No,
certainly not on.
Definitely not.
Like we're playing on an emulator just so we can capture footage. And we're playing on an Xbox controller because that's just what works. I forgot my USB N64 controller.
I'm kind of glad he did, though.
It might have been for the best.
There's some, we'll thank you later.
Yeah, I mean, we did 6 hours all in a row here. Well, close to it. Anyway,
we'll get into that.
So what I was going to say is that if you wanted to replay either of these games, I would probably recommend them playing on PC with a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah,
or modded in such a way that you can play them like a modern twin stick, because I think that the bones on these games are solid, actually. Yeah. I'm genuinely surprised that I enjoyed them this time around. Because we came into this like fully expecting to just take big shits all over these and take the piss, but we had a lot of fun, honestly.
Yeah, and I'm always happy to be proven wrong about that kind of stuff. And I just can't wrap my head around actually having a good time with a game that we played recently, at least the multiplayer, and we're like, to hell with this. These games suck, but they don't.
Yep. We thought everybody was just talking out their ass.
They don't.
But I think the fact that these 25-plus-year-old games have held up so well is what made Turok such a disappointment. And I think that there's a reason why you don't hear much about this game, because, oh my goodness. So Turok, let me just try and explain the story.
You can't.
It's so confusing. What was so funny about this is, like, GoldenEye, you get like the text, the mission briefing in text, and then you're just in the game and you immediately walk forward.
There wasn't unnecessary exposition. There wasn't things being talked at you, and it also kind of helps that we have the movie as well. But
the game is very faithful to the movie, actually, and it does a good job.
And then Perfect Dark, like, it was a simplistic story. You're trying to like recover, something bad from the bad guys and making sure they don't use it in a bad way.
And we can't find any official files. All we have is the name. Good luck, Dr. Dark.
This game, on the other hand, there was like the Council of Voices, and
let me explain this opening.
Yeah, the opening
best I
cutscene.
can.
Go through it. Yeah.
So, the opening cutscene starts, and you've got this Native American guy, and he's fighting. No, he's breaking into
a facility.
Some facility, like this little boy is in prison. He kicks the grate down and drops down, and he's trying to like save the kid. And then these weird aliens come into the room, and they start shooting everything, and then he wakes up because it's a bad dream. And then
the girlfriend or the wife or the sister, we don't know what the relationship is.
And there's all of a sudden like all of these characters, like he's worried about like this dream being like some sort of a premonition or something, and then he like goes back to bed, and then those same aliens show up again, and they invade his house, and this time it's not a dream, and he gets shot and dies, but I don't know what their relationships even are, but the woman...
It's got to be his wife and his kid, right?
I don't know. They say the ages later on, and she was
be his wife,
27,
and he was 15.
She'd have to have been 12 years old when she gave birth, right?
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. I have no idea what the relationship between these people are.
And if people are Turok fans in our comments right now...
This isn't the end of it, though. It goes on.
I just want to put this disclaimer in here real quick. If we missed out on something from the first two games that would have explained this to us, we're sorry, but coming into this game, we what was going on? Anyway, continue.
So you get the woman and the teenager boy escape in their truck,
and they're driving. And the guy that is in the house, he lights a grenade off and blows up the house.
It blows up the house as they drive away in their pickup truck, and we think, okay, when do we get to play the game? And then it keeps going. They drive the truck down a road. This big monster pops out of nowhere.
Flips the truck
over, and they're just about to get mauled by this thing. And then some crazy lady with
comes through a portal,
comes through a portal and saves them, I think. And then they go through the portal, and they end up in this futuristic world where there's a council of
like mechanical heads
that look like Gladys, but with an actual face, and all of them have really hard to understand voices because they've got some weird voice modulation on it.
Children, we are the Council of Voices. A new course must be set.
And then you pick whether you want to play as the woman or the boy. And we just randomly picked the boy. And then you get to play the game. It takes forever. It's so funny. Goldeneye
drops you straight in.
Here's the mission. Go. You go 10 feet before you get to shoot your gun at something.
Yeah.
Perfect Dark has this fun setup where you're flying through this futuristic city. You drop on a rooftop. You go 30 feet and you get to shoot a guy.
Yep.
This game, I swear, it took us 10, 15 minutes before we were actually doing anything. And we were so confused by that point. We had no clue what was going on.
And we had to mess around with the controls a little bit to find out something that made sense too. And we basically chose a control setup that was dead similar to these two games.
Tried to be. But you drop into that first level, and I guess the other thing we should say is that these games do not hold your hand.
No.
They don't tell you which objects in the world can be interacted with. It's not obvious because they all just kind of look like the same thing everywhere.
That does not look like a door.
That's what I was just gonna say. There's another door behind you, right?
See, and they don't tell you what's interactable and what's not. It's so interesting.
You just gotta be thorough.
It was so much easier to figure it out with the Rare games than it was with the Turok game, because it just seemed like shit would happen for no reason.
Amount of ammunition. I guess we'll see.
Holy jeebus!
Yeah, and you didn't even have an interact button. You would just run up to things and hope. that it would interact with them.
Yeah, there's no open door button. There's no climb ladder button.
Well, there's no button prompt either for anything.
There's no button prompts on keypads. So if you're at like a normal sized door, you can just walk through it. Which, sure, why not? Like that's a more frictionless thing. Like
yeah, well, you would think.
But like that comes back around to bite them so bad because it just doesn't seem like it works consistently.
No.
And if you're at a big door, you have to walk over to the keypad,
run into it, and then
I don't know. It was just so janky.
But like even just like walking through doors, it's like super inconsistent. Like sometimes you just go through and sometimes you just don't.
You would get like stuck on invisible terrain so often.
Yeah.
You were just like, can I go through the door?
Yeah, just so many times we hit invisible walls all over the place. And just, oh my gosh, it was just so frustrating to the point where it was just funny how bad it was.
Yeah.
Shotgun. He walked through the shut door!
Oh my god, this game is amazing!
So let's see. So that first mission, the enemies that you start fighting, those weird...
The little dogs.
Dog
and that's
things.
one thing, one huge complaint that I had.
Yes.
The first enemy you run into is Dog Odd Job. That's what it was. And you have this freaking... Your reticle is in the middle of the screen, and you have to aim up and down, which is the biggest limitation to the N64 first-person shooter genre. And the very first enemy you fight is a short dog
that just runs
at you,
bites your freaking ankles, and the weapon you have is either a knife
or a bow and arrow.
Bow and arrow, and you have to like hold it all the way back to like pull it back. And I don't mind that.
Yeah,
but it's just so weird
and stupid.
And like just in general, the auto aim just did not work nearly as good. It was.
Nope.
Well, and I guess we were just expecting it to work the same way because it's like, okay, well, if they did this in 97 and then they did this in 2000, then it would follow that this game that also came out in fall of 2000 would behave similarly, and it's just bad.
It's just horrendous.
Well, and the other thing too is that if you hold down, there's an aim button here. So normally,
that way you can adjust where your gun is specifically going to go. It's not great because the sensitivity on both of those games is like crazy high for no reason.
And it wants you to just snap back to the center always, which is really
the acceleration is also an issue with these games too. You go from 0 to 100 as soon as you touch the stick.
The auto aim absolutely saves
these
Perfect Dark and Goldeneye. The auto aim
was jittery.
Kind of there. It was just not quite good enough. And so you would like run around a corner, see like this crazy alien thing, and so you just like, hit your fire button, but
expecting,
because you're like looking at it, it's right in the middle of the screen. By all means, you should just hit it, and it just doesn't. Like consistently does not hit things that you think it should hit.
Yeah, and this is even with when we were using the shotgun as the weapon.
What is this?
Oh my god! This is so jank, dude. You have 3 HP. Oh my god!
This is so beyond dog shit.
Absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes we were getting messed over by the spread, and then other times it was just the auto aim just not working.
Yeah, and like you said, it would sometimes like twitch around like
Turok is terrible.
It might genuinely be one of the worst games I've ever played.
On the N64, yeah, 100%.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And we have to talk about like there was a little bit of platforming in it that was fraught.
My goodness, with invisible barriers,
like invisible
you get caught
walls.
on terrain.
And it's not like you were going to places where you weren't supposed to be, because they literally had collectibles
and like items telling you, "Hey, come over here."
Yeah,
There's
that's
cool stuff.
That's breadcrumbs to get players to go places, and then they don't let you go there.
like 11:30.
Okay.
No, you can't have that one. What?
Hello? Hello, McFly! God. Invisible walls.
And you can't.
And I can't go back. Okay, fine.
It was
But
just.
we have to talk about the boss fight.
The boss fight was dog shit.
Oh,
Where'd she come from?
Been there, I guess.
She just showed up for the tentacle port. Hey, maybe don't fly your helicopter right next to the glowing tentacle monster floating in the sky.
It made it into a shock.
I think just about everything wrong with this culminated in that boss fight. So the boss is like this tentacle
Possessing a mechanical vehicle for one,
which
makes no sense.
let's talk about that for a second, because I think the overall like vibe or aesthetic of this game is so confused, because you start out with this Native American guy, and I'm remembering like the original Turok, the first one. I think I played maybe 20 minutes of it when I was a kid.
The dinosaur hunter one.
The dinosaur one, yeah. I think you have like a central hub, and like most of the enemies are dinosaurs. I was kind of expecting that, so when we got aliens, I was really confused. But you're like Native American guy with the feather and the whole thing, and then you're in a modern day setting, but there's aliens. But you use a Bowie knife and a bow and arrow, but then the first boss that you meet is this like...
It was a police vehicle, like
a
flying
police vehicle melded with this tentacle monster reaching through a time portal in the sky. This was so confusing.
This sounds like something ChatGPT came up with.
It is so bizarre and all over the place and incohesive. Like, I'm all for like reaching across genres and like a hodgepodge of things together. Like the first thing that comes to mind, I think, would be I'm so bad with Remnant 2. That's a great pull. That one has such an interesting meld of like, hey, we're gonna put a cowboy gunslinger in this game, but you're also going to fight like time traveling aliens and like somehow
rune monsters and like I don't even know how to describe them, like Victorian England thing.
Like the Bloodborne section.
It was like the Lovecraft horror section.
Yeah, exactly. And like that kind of all worked. It was a little jarring at first, but I think as we like played it more,
awesome.
It started to come together, and we really enjoyed that game.
I'd honestly like to revisit that game at some point. That would be fun. But anyway, we digress.
But in this one, it just seems like they tried to do a similar thing where they're bringing all these kind of disparate elements together, and it just doesn't work.
Oblivion gunship. So it like absorbed the ship? Your turn.
No.
The first thing that's the problem with this boss is that you auto aim
have to aim up. It doesn't track the boss at all.
The auto aim does not exist in this boss fight, because he's just far enough above like the center of the screen that the game is just like,
I don't see it. There's nothing there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like this. Huh? What?
Well, and I feel like the strategy that you ended on was just like the weirdest looking thing. We'll just show footage of that fight.
Just roll it right here.
Because it just looks so weird. And the hit registration, which has been a problem the entire time, is even worse on this bigger boss. So yeah, some of the shots that you would land would do like a pretty good amount of damage, like the amount of damage that you would expect from this shotgun that's been one-shotting everything that
carrying us through the game.
And then all of a sudden, like if you get straight under it and shoot up into the bottom jaw of the thing, it did nothing. It was so weirdly inconsistent where you would hit it. And it wasn't obvious where you should hit it?
No, there was no obvious weak point. Like,
And it seems like
if we look at an example of a really well-designed thing like that, look at Ocarina of Time. The weaknesses are super obvious, and the advantages that you need to take are super obvious in that game. Most of the time, you're just using the item that you got in the dungeon or whatever. But it was very obvious what you were supposed to do to beat the boss.
Yeah, for better or for worse, it's very video gamey.
Yeah,
like hit the big glowing, the
red eye,
the eye or the weak spot. Like it's obvious what you're supposed to do. With this, it was just like, what, why, like, and it was inconsistent because we figured out that like the little like engine looking thing on the side would sometimes give us full damage, and sometimes it just didn't.
Go, kill him! No! Oh no! Ah! Oh! Yeah! Oh! I want 25 minutes of my life back.
I guess the one thing that it had over the other games was enemy variety.
Yeah,
that's one thing that we brought up while we were playing the Rare games.
Yeah, it was just guys with guns coming in after you all the time that took like 1 or 2 shots to kill most of the time.
Well, and none of them behaved differently ever.
No,
they all seemed to have
like
the same
animations. And
the animations were so funny that if you hit people during the roll, they'd have to like finish that
the
before they would stand up.
And then they would stand up, and then they would be like.
He had to finish that animation before he could die.
Spring backwards and like, oh, you got me.
It was consistently funny, though.
Yeah,
I will say that.
It was endearing. It was endearing. But anyway.
But yeah, you have way more enemy variety in Turok. Like, Perfect Dark basically only added turrets as far as we got.
And they sucked.
Yeah, they were not fun to fight, honestly. I'm sure that there's more stuff further into these games.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to the tank level in Goldeneye.
Which is unfortunate because it's probably one of the best ones.
Yeah, we just didn't make it in the 2 hours we played, unfortunately. But yeah, like in Turok, we fought the little dog things. We fought the alien centaur things that spit at you.
The zombie.
There was the zombie, and then we had the boss, and then there was the guys with guns in the next level.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, the reason why we had to just hang it up there is because we had been so deeply frustrated this whole time. The train level was so...
Okay, now I have to watch this stupid-ass cutscene every time. Non-skippable cutscenes are balls in these games. Shotgun. He walked through the shut door!
Oh my god, this game is amazing! Absolute cinema. Again, watching the FPS at the bottom, it never dips below 60.
I'm about ready to just shut it off before the 2 hours are done. I'm over this already. Unskippable cutscene again. We've got
an hour 15 left on this game.
We're doing it for all of you. I want you to realize how shitty this is. And then because you don't have to do it, we're doing it for you. You're welcome. We're performing a public service. That's what this is. I cannot believe.
This is a shake-ass game, dude. Oh my god.
Fucking die!
9, 8,
My god. This game is so bad.
It's ass!
It's so bad.
What are we doing?
Hey, again, this game has a 77 on Metacritic, and I think that that's way too high. What the fuck is this stupid game, dude? I mean, that goddamn controller.
No, I'm gonna do this.
Okay! Yeah! Luke!
Unskippable cutscene! And why is it 56 seconds? Why isn't it an even minute? It's probably because they couldn't program higher than 56.
Or it just got stuck that way. They didn't know how to fix it.
It hit me through the door. I hit the button. I literally hit the freaking button. I hit the button! See him jumping? I hit the button! 56. Unskippable cutscene. Hey, look! The attack hit the door! Weird!
Be sure to reload.
What? Dude!
One shot's the best.
Collision in 10.
Almost couldn't, like, squeeze in there. Holy shit.
I didn't expect this. I thought this one was gonna be the more advanced of the two because it was the newest.
Right.
Turns out that Rareware knew what they were doing. New respect for Rareware, guys.
Yeah, really, though. Holy crap.
I was really not expecting that to be so bad.
I was expecting this one to be the best of the three, honestly.
You really did?
I really did, because I thought GoldenEye was going to feel really bad. Perfect Dark's made by the same people, so therefore it was going to be just as bad. Mm-hmm. And this one is the only one that we hadn't played, so we were just like, oh. And came out after all these ones. Mm-hmm. So it stands to reason that that one would be the best. Nope.
Different developer. Completely different idea of what they wanted to do.
And this made me appreciate Rare even more than I already did.
Yeah. I mean, Rare has fallen so hard from where they were.
It's just sad.
But this era of games that they had just in the late 90s, early 2000s, they were really, really special for a reason. Like, yeah, I mean, you just played through Banjo-Kazooie and 100%ed it.
And twice. I did it twice.
You did it twice. Once on an actual console and once on the emulator. Mm-hmm. And so it's like it's not us just being like frustrated by old games. That's not at all what's going on here, because we genuinely enjoyed these two, and after like understanding like where the bar was, like getting calibrated to that, and then playing this, it's just like this is so far below where these two were years earlier.
Yeah, and they just had it figured out, man. They had it dialed in.
The only thing that this game, I would say, does better is that, like, their animations looked better.
Well,
like, the character designs.
And they utilized the expansion pack. Mm-hmm. So.
But, like, when you're in the game playing it, I didn't think it looked better. It was just like the cutscenes were slightly better.
Congrats. Your unskippable cutscenes look better than the other two games.
You're aggravating, confusing,
and you had to rewatch it every time you died.
That train scene, I swear to God, every time that you got the controller for this game was the worst parts of it.
I feel like that happened to me in a lot of these games. Because I got the stupid hostage mission in GoldenEye.
On the boat,
On the boat. What an atrocious mess that was.
Yeah. Well,
But Luke and Andrew, it's I can't even think of anything good to say.
Well, here's the big takeaways. I'll give you two big takeaways. Hostage/escort missions are not fun. Dual wielding is fucking great. Put it in the game!
Oh, you can dual wield those? Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, but it's really tricky to balance and all these things.
I don't care.
I do not care.
Let me dual wield in a first.
Cue me that scene of Doc Holliday in Tombstone saying, "I've got two guns, one for each of you."
You're so drunk you can't hit nothing. In fact, you're probably seeing double.
I have two guns, one for each of you.
Well, let's end it on this. Obviously, this game we are never going to play again. If this was our cart, I'd be half tempted to destroy it because it's so bad. But what's the game? You have to choose just one. What's the game that you would hit continue on? What's that one?
It's Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark. I
think
agree.
You agree with me on that. Like,
Like, this one just feels like a better, more upgraded version of Goldeneye. And, I mean, there's a reason that people don't play original StarCraft like they play Brood War. StarCraft is awesome. Like, the original StarCraft is great. But why would you play the original StarCraft with less stuff when Brood War exists, has more units and more mechanics, and... Yeah.
It's the Suicide Squad meme. He does what I do, but better.
But better.
It's exactly that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
So we are gonna hit continue on Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
That's
we're gonna
crown it the
best,
the king of Cartridge Royale for today.
Yeah. KO.